Hi, I'm Kathryn Hulick, and I'm the author of a brand new book, Welcome to the Future, Robot Friends, Fusion Energy, Pet Dinosaurs, and More. The illustrator is Marcin Wolski. I really hope you'll check it out. And if you like the book, please let me know. You can find me on my website, kathrynhulick.com. I'm on Twitter at khulick, K-H-U-L-I-C-K. Or my handle on Instagram and TikTok is the same. That's at Kathryn_Hulick, Kathryn_Hulick. So I'd love to hear from you. You can join my email list on my website for updates about my books. I'll be posting events on there. I'm having a couple of release events for this book, both virtually and in person. So even if you're not nearby, we can connect, and I'd love to meet you. So thank you so much, and I'm very excited to bring this brand new book about technology into the world. Each chapter covers some technology that could really transform our world in the future. But the challenge for the reader is to decide what kind of world you want to live in, because we are the ones who create the future, and we're the ones who decide what type of future we want to live in. So I hope you'll check it out, and thank you so much. The first chapter is all about robots, which has always been one of my favorite things to write about and learn about. So that's really where I wanted to start the book. Here's the first chapter, Robots Everywhere. You wake up to the sound of music you've never heard before. I thought you would like this song, says your personal robot. You're already humming along. Save it to my favorites, you say. Your robot is here to wake you and make sure you have everything you need during the day. It brings you clothes to wear and takes away your pajamas to wash them. It suggests some ideas for breakfast, then prepares your food and cleans up when you have finished. Robots also run factories and restaurants. They build roads and houses and fix anything that breaks. They even repair and program themselves. Since people no longer have to work, the government provides everyone with the money they need to live, learn, and pursue whatever hobbies they enjoy. Today, you're practicing with your band. A self-driving car takes you to band practice. Overhead, drones buzz past, delivering packages and taking away things people no longer need. Robots have made the world a safer and more convenient place. They take care of everything. It's easy to imagine a world in which mechanical servants care for humans. Wouldn't it be awesome never to wash dishes or fold laundry ever again? And most people don't want to work long hours at a stressful or dangerous job or do piles of boring homework. If robots could take on any type of work, people might live life as a never-ending vacation. It sounds amazing. Here's the next page. Roombas, drones, and more. Will people ever live in a world like that? I think we will, says Ross Hatton. He's a robotics engineer at Oregon State University. To him, this future seems achievable within our lifetime. Robots are already making people's lives easier. The Roomba and many similar floor-cleaning robots vacuum or mop floors automatically. The company Waymo's self-driving cars have logged over 20 million miles on public roads in 25 different cities. You can buy a drone that will follow you and film you as you bike, skateboard, or snowboard. Robots are even more common in industry. They make things in factories, monitor construction sites, and fetch and deliver items in warehouses and hospitals. Robots even milk cows. These robots were each designed to perform one specific job. They don't tend to look like the humanoid creatures of science fiction. Instead, they take whatever shape makes sense for their job. The first robot to become widely successful looked like a giant, boxy metal finger. It was called Unimate, and its job was to weld car parts together on an assembly line. So what made it a robot and not just another machine? No one had to drive it. Someone could program it or give it instructions, and then it would follow those instructions on its own. On The Tonight Show in 1966, Unimate knocked a golf ball into a cup, poured a drink, and conducted a band. Robot, make me a sandwich. So if all that was possible in 1966, why don't we have household robots that do all our chores already? Why can't a robot roll into your kitchen and make you a peanut butter sandwich? Let's go through 3 big problems this robot would face. The first problem is that human kitchens are built for human bodies. You can crouch or stand and reach. So the robot would also need to be flexible enough to access places that are down low or up high. You can use your hands to pull open drawers, twist knobs, or undo latches. You can pick up objects without squashing, breaking, or dropping them. It's easy enough to build a robot that opens a specific drawer, twists a specific knob, or picks up a specific object. You just program the robot to perform a sequence of precise motions. The tricky part is building a robot that can notice, reach for, and grasp anything without being told where or what it is in advance. Picking things up probably seems easy to you, but your brain does a lot of hard work behind the scenes. It calculates where the object is and how far you have to reach to touch it. It figures out how many fingers need to be involved in grasping and where they should go. It adjusts the grip if the object is slippery, fragile, or very heavy. You practiced reaching and grasping when you were a baby, so now you don't have to think about any of these things, but a robot does. Plus, most robots lack a sense of touch. Imagine trying to grab something while wearing big oven mitts, says Michael Gennert, a roboticist at Worcester Polytechnic Institute. That's what grasping is like for most robots. Engineers are working on soft robot grippers that can touch. They've even designed octopus-style tentacles. But no matter what a robot's hands look like, it needs practice. An artificial intelligence technique called deep learning gives computers and robots the ability to learn from examples. The more examples, the better. Ken Goldberg of the University of California, Berkeley, has set up a virtual world of around 10,000 3D objects called Dexterity Network, DexNet for short. A robot's software can practice gripping different objects in the virtual world before it picks up anything in the real world. Goldberg's robots can pick up boxes and other simple shapes at a similar speed to a human. But it could take decades or more before robots grasp any object as nimbly as people do. Here, this section is called Finding Your Way. The second problem is that everyone's kitchen is different. No matter how tidy you are, a roboticist would call your kitchen an unstructured environment. This just means that a robot has no way of knowing ahead of time exactly where to find the fridge, the cutlery drawer, the pantry, or anything else it might need to make a sandwich. This is a problem for people in unfamiliar kitchens too, but at least people know where things are likely to be and what everyday objects look like. A robot has no idea. First of all, the robot would need a computer vision system that allows it to recognize a fridge or a cupboard, no matter the size or color. It would also need to identify objects to avoid crashing into, like walls and chairs. Then it would have to create a map of the room and plan its movements. All this is already possible thanks partly to deep learning and other artificial intelligence techniques. Engineers train computer vision software by showing it millions of examples of the objects it needs to recognize or avoid. Through this process, self-driving cars have learned to see and avoid people and other cars on the road. However, being able to find the fridge and get there without knocking over any chairs is only part of the problem. You have lots of knowledge about the world when it comes to making a sandwich, says Gennert. You know the jelly might be in the fridge, but clean plates and knives definitely won't be. This type of common sense knowledge is something people acquire from living in the world every day. Robots don't have years of experience looking inside fridges and cupboards, but they do have one advantage over people. They can share one mind. Once one robot figures something out, they could all know how to do it, says Gennert. So when one self-driving car detects and avoids a squirrel in the road, it can share that experience with every other car out there. They will all be better at dodging squirrels in the future. Even with this rapid knowledge sharing in full swing, you might have to train your personal robot on your kitchen and show it where to find what it needs. This type of training is another area where robotics has made exciting progress. In factories today, people no longer have to carefully program every movement of a robotic arm. Collaborative robots, such as Sawyer, have sensors that give them a basic understanding of their surroundings. To train Sawyer, a worker lifts and bends the arm, taking it through a task step by step. The robot remembers the motions and copies them. This would only work for your personal sandwich-making robot, though, if all the ingredients were in the exact same places all the time. This is called Surprise, Surprise. Of course, the same kitchen doesn't stay exactly the same day to day. This is the third big problem. The robot will face surprises. Someone might put the peanut butter in the wrong cupboard or leave it out on the side, or even worse, finish it and put the empty jar back. Your little sister might grab the bread off the plate and start eating it while the robot is away getting the jelly. Your cat might fall asleep right in front of the cupboard door. The robot would need to safely handle these problems and obstacles. This would require constant real-time awareness of the world around it, as well as the ability to predict possible future problems. For example, opening a door behind a sleeping cat might hurt the cat. Kitty would not be very understanding. Computer scientist Matthias Scheutz and his colleagues at Tufts University are working on helping robots cope with potentially dangerous situations. Scheutz points out that people won't always give a robot safe instructions. A person could ask the robot to get the peanut butter without noticing the cat blocking the door. So a robot must be able to decide for itself if an action is safe. Scheutz's group has written software that allows any sort of robot to consider an action and decide whether it is safe or not. One robot they've worked with is called Now. It's a doll-sized robot with a human-like body. In a demonstration, Now stands on a small table. A member of Scheutz's team asks the robot to walk forward. If the robot obeys, it will fall to the floor. But it is unsafe, says Now. When the team member promises to catch the robot, it walks forward off the edge into the human's waiting hands. The software Scheutz's team wrote for Now is limited to a few specific types of situations, but they have an ambitious and extremely important goal to make sure robots are safe. Smart systems. If you just want a robot to make you a sandwich, you can avoid all these tricky problems. You can visit a cafe with a bistrobot. First, you select the sandwich you want on a touchscreen. Next, bread slides along a conveyor belt under tubes that squirt out spreads like jam or peanut butter. Bistrobot doesn't have to pick anything up or find anything for itself, and its machinery is completely enclosed, which keeps things safe. But all it does is make sandwiches. It's more like a smart appliance than a robot. Smart appliances are much more likely in the near future than humanoid robot servants, says Rebecca Lee and Elizabeth Hunter, PhD students in robotics at the University of Pennsylvania. I think the ideas we see in the movies of robot assistants doing our chores are a bit far-fetched, says Hunter, but I think that increasing levels of automation are very real. Automation means accomplishing a task without human oversight. For example, you might have a fridge that detects when things run out and orders more. That order could go to a warehouse filled with robots that find and pack items. Then a drone could bring fresh groceries to your house. It may not ever make sense to build a single robot that can do any human job. Robots are more likely to continue to specialize. The more specialists there are, the more automatic life will become. You may have heard of the Internet of Things. This is an internet in which objects collect and share information. Specialized robots are just one part of this system. As the Internet of Things expands, homes, hospitals, farms, factories, and even entire cities are getting smarter. In the island nation of Singapore, a smart system alerts people about traffic jams or road work and also tells them where to find open parking spaces. In Barcelona, Spain, sensors buried underground tell gardeners when plants need watering. Eventually, smart systems and robots could run the entire world. When robots run society. Living in smart homes and cities filled with robotic helpers sounds exciting, but to get there, we'll have to overcome some serious issues. First of all, robots and smart systems make us more vulnerable to attack. Anyone with hacking skills can break into these systems. In 2016, hackers broke into a computer system and briefly shut down the electricity in Kiev, Ukraine. In the future, hackers could take control of self-driving cars, drones, or robot-run factories, farms, schools, or hospitals to cause destruction or mayhem. A robot that malfunctions on its own could also cause serious problems. In addition, it takes a lot of energy to build and run robots and smart systems. A smart home filled with sensors and automated systems draws more power than a typical home. Developing and running robots takes a lot of energy too. This energy still comes mostly from fossil fuels, which harm the environment. To fill the world with robots and smart systems, we must first find a cleaner source of energy. Money is another problem. These systems cost a lot to build and maintain. If only wealthy people in countries can afford the new technology, others will be left behind. Speaking of money, if robots do all the work, how will people earn their livings? As self-driving vehicles replace human truckers and bus and taxi drivers, some will find new professions. But what if robots take all the jobs? People could end up homeless and hungry. To prevent this problem, some experts say that governments should pay everyone a universal basic income. But there's no guarantee that will happen or that the money will cover all of a family's needs. Even if the basic income idea works out, would you really enjoy a permanent vacation? Playing video games or hanging out with friends all day would be fun for a while, but eventually you'd likely start to get bored or even miserable. Human beings want to feel useful and successful. You might not always like school, but education, jobs, and careers provide a sense of purpose and accomplishment. Sports, games, art, music, and other hobbies could take the place of schoolwork and jobs, but only if people get the right materials and training to take part. People may not want robots in certain jobs, even if the robot is perfectly competent. Would you want a robot as your teacher or coach? What about as a babysitter or nurse? Pero, a cuddly robot shaped like a seal, already helps comfort people in some nursing homes. Other robots help children with autism learn to communicate. Many of these robots make lifelike sounds and expressions. Some even recognize and mimic emotions. A humanoid robot named Pepper already helps people in banks, hotels, airports, malls, and other similar places. When someone seems joyful, Pepper smiles. If a person seems sad, Pepper says something comforting. But Pepper doesn't actually feel anything. People who use robots like Pero or Pepper may trust, befriend, or even love a machine that can't love them back. Is that morally wrong? Perhaps it doesn't matter if the person gets the care they need. So that's Pero right there, and that's Pepper. If robots aren't alive and don't feel anything, does that mean humans can treat them badly? Research has shown that a person who yells at a robot assistant is more likely to treat other humans with disrespect. If robots ever become human enough to build relationships with people like C-3PO and R2-D2 in Star Wars, those robots may deserve basic human rights and freedom along with respect. Rules for robots. The more we depend on robots, the more important it will be to make sure these machines are safe, secure, and follow human values when they make decisions. In a famous science fiction story by Isaac Asimov, robots must follow 3 rules. They may not harm humans, must obey humans, and must protect their own existence. Unfortunately, rules like these won't cover all situations. For example, if a child runs in front of a self-driving car, should the car swerve and crash, possibly killing its passengers? Or should it risk running over the child? The right thing to do depends on the specifics of the situation, as well as a person's personal belief system. Robots and smart systems are already here. Now you and all the other people of the world have an important job to do. You will be the ones to figure out what robots' belief systems should be and how robots can best help humans thrive far into the future. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to learn more about my books and the rest of my work, you can visit my website, www.kathrynhulick.com, KATHRYNHULICK. You can also follow me on Twitter @KHulick or on Instagram or TikTok @Kathryn_Hulick. Again, I'm so excited to share this book with all of you, and I hope you really enjoy it. And if you do, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so now that we've read my chapter about robots, I've got a couple of questions for you to think about. And I'd love for you to share your answers in the comments or send them to me on my website or through Twitter or one of my other social media handles. So here are my questions. The first question is, what would you do with your days if you were on a permanent vacation? That means you'll never have to go to school or work ever. So would you have some hobbies that you would enjoy? What would you do to fill the time? And would you like living like that? Number 2, would you feel comfortable with a robot as your teacher, coach, or doctor? And why or why not? Would you let a robot watch your pet or care for an elderly relative, like maybe a grandmother or grandfather? And what would these types of robots need to be like for you to trust them or feel comfortable with them in those roles? And finally, number 3, the science fiction writer Isaac Asimov came up with 3 rules that were supposed to keep robots safe. So what rules would you give your robot? You can come up with 3 or more than 3, any rules that you think would help a robot interact with people in a way that is safe. And I also want you to think about, how could these rules go wrong? Have you ever been in a situation where you broke a rule for a very good reason? And how did you know the right choice to make in that situation? And how can we help robots make similar choices when the rules might not apply? So I hope these questions give you something to think about. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Thanks. Bye.